The pilot leaned into my row in first class and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Ma'am, this cabin is for paying passengers. Your seat must be a mistake." Then he looked at my skin like it explained everything. The cabin went quiet. And the flight attendant froze with my boarding pass in her hand. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just asked for his name. He smirked and said it twice, like I wouldn't remember it. What he didn't know was that the airline had invited me onto that flight for a reason. And he just made the kind of mistake that doesn't get fixed with an apology. 2 hours earlier, I'd arrived at Gate 12 with a carry-on, a black blazer, and the habit of keeping my head down in airports. If you care about powerful black racism stories and dignity, subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Years of flying teach you which battles drain your soul. My name is Nia Carter. I'm not famous. Not the kind of face people recognize. I like it that way. At the counter, the agent scanned my ticket and smiled. "Miss Carter, you've been upgraded to first class." I nodded. "Thank you." Behind me, a man in a golf pullover chuckled. "Must be nice to get freebies," he muttered, eyes sliding over me as I'd slipped past security. I walked the jet bridge and stepped into the cabin. Soft lighting. Leather seats. The faint smell of coffee and polished plastic. A flight attendant checked my pass. 1A, right this way. I sat down. Buckled in. Opened my notebook. That's when I felt the first sting of disrespect. Quiet, practiced, normal. A passenger in 1C pressed his call button and told the attendant, "Can you confirm she's in the right place?" The attendant glanced at my pass again, then offered me an apologetic smile. Boarding continued, and the looks kept coming. The kind that don't ask questions, they accuse. A woman across the aisle whispered to her husband, not quietly enough. "They're letting anyone up here now." I stared at the seatback screen and pretended I hadn't heard. My jaw tightened anyway. Then the cockpit door opened. He walked out in full uniform. Lost the aisle belonged to him. Tall. Perfect cap angle. Teeth that flashed when he smiled at the right people. He greeted a few first-class passengers by name. Handshakes. A joke about the weather. Laughter, easy and warm. His eyes reached my row and stopped. He didn't smile. He checked the seat number above my head like I was graffiti on a museum wall. Then he leaned closer, and his voice shifted, still polite, but edged with certainty. "This cabin is for first class," he said. "I'm aware," I replied. He nodded at my notebook. "Are you traveling as staff? Non-rev? Because if you're not on the manifest." I held up my boarding pass. 1A, it's on the pass. He didn't take it. He looked at the flight attendant instead. "Can you verify this? We've been having issues with improper seating." Improper. Like my presence was a malfunction. The attendant's cheeks went red. She scanned again. "She's assigned 1A, Captain." His jaw set. Assigned by who? The question wasn't about policy. It was about permission. Passengers watched openly now, like this was in-flight entertainment. Someone behind me chuckled. I heard a soft, satisfied, from 2D. The pilot turned to me again, voice louder. "Ma'am, if you can't produce a valid fare receipt, I'm going to need you to move to your purchased cabin." I swallowed. Not because I was scared. Because I knew this feeling, the old, familiar pressure to prove I deserved oxygen. I said, calmly, "What's your name, Captain?" He smiled, sharp. "Captain Harlan Beck." "And yours?" I met his eyes. "Nia Carter." He laughed once, like it meant nothing. Then, "Miss Carter, let's not make this difficult." I could have argued. I could have pulled out emails and confirmations. But I'd learned something: people like him don't change when you plead. They change when the rules finally apply to them. So I opened my notebook and wrote 3 words, Harlan Beck, Gate 12. Then I reached into my bag and slid a simple badge holder onto my lap. No flashing it. No drama. Just enough for the flight attendant to glimpse the seal when she leaned in. Her eyes widened. Her posture changed. And suddenly her voice had steel in it. "Captain, may I speak with you privately?" He waved her off. "We're about to close the door." She didn't move. "Now, Captain." That got his attention. They stepped toward the galley, but the cabin was so quiet you could hear the air vents. I watched their reflections in the glossy cabinet door as she whispered, "Urgent." He scoffed. Then she showed him my badge more clearly. Captain Beck's face drained like someone pulled a plug. He came back to my row slower this time. The swagger was gone. He didn't lean in. He didn't project his voice. "Miss Carter," he said, tight smile, "there seems to have been confusion." I didn't speak. He cleared his throat. "I apologize for any discomfort." The lead flight attendant appeared beside him, eyes steady. "Captain, the chief compliance officer is on the phone. On speaker. Right now." And his shoulders dropped, just slightly, like his body understood before his pride did. The call came through the cabin speaker in the galley, muffled, but clear enough to catch the tone. "Professional. Cold. Captain Beck," the voice said, "this is Ms. Carter's flight. She is conducting an unannounced audit on discrimination complaints. Your interaction has been recorded by cabin security and passenger devices." A pause. "Then, you are relieved from duty effective immediately. Do not operate this aircraft. A reserve crew is being dispatched." The cabin erupted in whispers. Eyes snapped to me like I'd pulled a lever. Captain Beck stood there, frozen, staring at the carpet that had betrayed him. His mouth opened, then closed. No charm left to deploy. 2 gate supervisors boarded. One spoke quietly. "Captain, please come with us." As he walked up the aisle, he avoided every face he tried to impress. The same passengers who watched me get questioned now watched him get escorted out. And nobody laughed. When the new pilot greeted the cabin, he looked at my pass, smiled, and said, "Welcome aboard, Ms. Carter." Like it was simple. Like it should have always been. As we lifted off, I reopened my notebook and wrote one last line: "Some people think first class is a seat. Until they learn it's a test."